try to explain to y'all on your proposed amount for what the election will cost you. First of all, because the county is having an election in November and the city has never had an election in November, we have to combine. You know, that's state ruling that we're going to have to combine polling places. You have 14 of my county precincts or your city precincts. There's 14 of them, and I actually have 25 polling places, but your 14 will be shared with the school and the county. If you were having this election in May, there wouldn't be any problem. You would not have to open your precincts with my precincts. You know, early voting, if you were to do your own election, you would be opening early voting here, and you would have to open early voting at the courthouse also. So we have to share both. On election day, those 14 polling places will be shared with the city, with the school, and the county. So you're looking at 3 different entities that are going to be sharing these polling places. I do have a Port O'Connor one, but that's only with the school and the county. You're not involved in that at all. On the proposed, the election workers, by law, you have to have 3 workers at every polling place. You have to have a judge, alternate judge, in case something happens to the judge and the judge cannot do the duties. You have to have the alternate and then a clerk. So you're paying for 3 people at every polling place, which is 14. This 14 will be shared with the 3, county, school, and then y'all. And then on election day, well, early voting, you have no cost of early voting whatsoever, other than your ballots and your kits. County is to pay for all of your early voting. Whether it's 7 days, 10 days, county has to pay your early voting if we're conducting your election. The election day is the majority of your cost, is on election day because of your 14 polling places. I was going to combine my 25 polling places into 12, but because we're having such a big bond election with the school, they prefer that I don't combine them. And once I started looking, when you did your redistricting, you did not take a whole county precinct to your city district. Part of your district can be in 5 different of mine, and I think what you probably have a copy of it, can be in 5 different of my polling places. So therefore, it's not right to combine it, because one person can actually go vote at 2 places because he's going to be on that list, 2 or 3 places. So that's not feasible. Now, the voting kits are what you're going to need for election day, which has all the paperwork that every judge, every polling place needs. Okay, and your ballots, they usually average about 32 cents a ballot. And this price, if we do a separate ballot for you, that's more or less what you're going to pay. Now, if we put your ballot with the county and the school, no, unless you actually have to have your ballot on the front, I can tell you your wording, your election part is not going to be on the front of the ballot. The amendments have to go first. The last amendment will be on the back side of the page, and then you have 2 columns, one for you and one for the school. You know, unless you have a big, I think it'd be to your advantage to put it all on the same ballot, cost-wise, because we can split the ballot costs on those 14 precincts again. And then your cost-wise is, my thinking is that if someone comes to vote for the amendments or the bond election, you're on that ballot, you know. If you go vote, say, no, I just want to vote for the school, well, they may not get a city ballot. You know, you want them to vote at every election, whether it's county, school, or yours. You know, you want them to vote at every election. I just think that I can train my workers and train them, but, you know, everybody's human. They're going to forget to give somebody a ballot. If they have to hand 3 ballots out to one person that comes in to vote, come on. You know, that's a lot of ballots for them to keep up with. You know, it's hard for us to keep up with and think what you're doing, much less someone that does it once a year. You know, it's kind of difficult there. Most of the other fees are your ballot printing, ballot processing, the coding. You have to pay the full price for your coding because it's not going to be coded with the county and school if you were wanting your own ballot. The other part is the auto mark machine. Your early voting would be 1 machine for 10 days at a 3% cost. Those machines are valued at $5,400. You pay 3% of the cost for your early voting for 10 days. On election day, you're going to pay 1 machine, 14 days. 14 polling places. I'm sorry, it's 1 machine per polling place, and then again, you would split that with the school or county. You know, whatever, however many. Usually, I try to put at least 2 machines at every polling place. The shipping of the flashcards is where they program. The little card goes into each voting machine, and that's all programmed. I've got to ship those off, and I have those so we don't have to buy any of the cards. What we do is just recycle them and send them back. The total benefits for the election workers, when county has to pay the workers, they have to pay the withholding, social security and all that. So that's what this $300 and something is, because it has to be reimbursed back to the county. The renting of the polling places, there's a couple I don't pay for anything owned by city, by county, or school. You know, we're paying like the church, I think you have Salem Lutheran, we have a couple of polling places, there's a few, but then again, that's broken up 3 ways, so your part is $33. The legal notice for the county machine is I always test it before election. It gets tested 3 times, and 1 time has to be a public notice for the public to come in and check the machine. The site support, that's the person that comes on election night and runs the machine there with us. And that's always good to have, because if anything goes wrong with the machine, we're hand counting, guys. And he can call his, corporate office and they can walk him through how to fix it or whatever. So, we want to be able to be done by 11 o'clock and have the results by then. Which brings our total to $10,190.72. And as you see, the county charges only the 10%. The rest is your fee, which is still a lot feasible for us to do it rather than you to do it and share the cost. I mean, if you did it, your 14 polling places on election day would cost you a lot to, and then you would have polling places that had a table for the city and a table for school and county. That's the thing. You're leaving yourself kind of wide open to where I just want to vote here, I don't want to vote there. I just figure if it's all on one ballot, it'd be a lot easier to make sure that people vote. And here again, I'm gonna have to order more ballots, because if I combine yours with ours, it's open to the whole county and more people vote. I kind of did a spreadsheet today as far as how many people voted in the last presidential election county-wide, and I had almost like 6,000 something people vote. So, and I want to order enough ballots for every polling place or every precinct and not to run out, because it's worse to run out than to have too many. Yes, sir.
A question: if the way this is set up, it'll all be broken up on election day itself. Now, on the early voting, will they come to the courthouse? Because I remember some of the elections, they've always said, well, for early voting, we always go to the courthouse.
Yeah, if I do your election, all of early voting will be at the courthouse. Your schools, mine, Port Conner, everything will be at the courthouse. The only thing is election day, when you will have 14 polling places shared with the county and the school. That's the only difference on election.
That's where we have the biggest complaint, because people trying to find out where they go vote.
All of early will be at the courthouse for the 10 days, and then by law you have to be open 7 to 7 for 2 days, and we've got Tuesday and Thursday the first week from 7 to 7.
The choice is, do we do it with you or do we do it by ourselves? If we do it by ourselves, we still have to have the polling places, so it'll be more expensive. So
that's right. You're not sharing the cost for the county and the school.
That's right.
Yeah, you would have to, and if you're, like I said, you'd have polling places that probably are big enough to have city here and county here. I've got, some of the places are kind of small, so usually 1 table, 3 chairs, and 2 voting booths or 3 voting booths and 1 machine.
The choice would be also, I think Dora said, that we could have our own ballot. She doesn't recommend it, it would be more costly.
Right.
That is a choice that council would have.
Yeah, if you did your own ballots, you'd be paying your 32 cents a ballot, plus you'd be paying your own coding, your own layout, everything on your own ballot. You'd have your own ballot. If you went with the county, it's 1 layout, for all 3 of us. It'd be 1 layout, but the only thing, you'll be on the back of the ballot. But the ballots always say on the bottom, back side or something. I mean, it'll tell them. And the last amendment's on the back side anyway. So, I mean, that's kind of a plus. It's not like the amendments only take half the page, and they're going to think that's it. And the last amendment's going to be on the very back.
There's a lot of amendments.
There's 9, right? How many are they? 9, I think? I think there's 9. 9? Yeah, there's 9 amendments, so.
And how is it distinguished that, like, a county voter doesn't get?
I will put, when I dissect my precincts, your precincts are, you have precincts 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, 14, 15, 17, and 20. I will only put your writing on those precincts. Like Olivia's going to have county and school, Point Comfort's going to have county and school, so your writing as far as your ballot will not be on all the ballots now. So if someone comes in and votes county precinct 1, that ballot's going to have you, us, and the school. If someone from Port Conner comes in, it'll just have the school and the county. So, yeah, I have to dissect every precinct and just put what goes in what precinct.
And so it does fit in that all our city precincts.
Well, that's just the thing, okay, when it comes to totaling, you are going to have to go by county precincts, if you wanna know, okay, I need to know who voted in District 1 for this. District 1, and I've given Mandy where it's broken up.
Council, if you look at number 15, go to number 15, on the third to the last page, it's Exhibit A, and you'll see what Dora is talking about as far as the polling places.
If you go to your District 1, you have precincts 8, 14, and part of 1. Okay? So when you go to see, you wanna know who voted in District 1, you're gonna have to pull all the county precinct 8, all the county precinct 14, and you're probably gonna get all of 1, because I can't break up my precincts in half. You know, that's the thing, you're gonna have to get the name and the address and find out what part, because precinct 1 is also in District 3. So usually every year y'all have y'all had whole precincts to cover mine, and this year y'all split them up. I mean, I don't know,
It was not us, it was the guy that did our,
yeah.
the one that did for the
And that's
county and
what's-
did it also for the school.
Yeah,
district.
see, and that's
They
what's
did
made
it.
it difficult, because I could have combined some of the polling places, but when you have a part of 1 that can vote, you know, District 1 can vote over here, and then 1 again is in District 3, it's like, I can't cut my precincts in half, so they're gonna have a list of 1 here and a list of 1 there.
You
So, and I don't think anybody would do it, but what's to keep them from voting over there and over
We
here,
assume
because
he
they're
was
on the
doing
list.
We assume he was, and since he was doing it for the county and the school, then I guess we thought he was gonna do ours.
And the same thing was done with the school. The school cut their precincts